Let's check back in with Rob at the club at Diamondhead as the celebration continues this morning. Rob's got a real historian now to tell us more about the city. How's it going, Rob?
Hey, indeed, Ethan. Definitely a historian joining me this morning. And, this is one of the fun stuff, not only getting the information to our viewers here in South Mississippi, but, as a non-native, I consider myself a native now after a couple of decades, but I learned so much about this. And joining me, an expert at the game of historian, Dr. James Keating. Dr. James, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, I'm proud to be here for the history of Diamondhead.
Okay. Now, sir, let me ask you this. Has your whole life been down here in South Mississippi, or did you come here by ways of another way?
I came here 20 years ago from New Orleans. I'm a retired X-ray doctor, and now I'm an amateur local historian.
How'd you go from X-ray doctor to a historian? I don't see the clear path there. Was this just a hobby that became more than a hobby?
No, I've always liked history. I majored in history in college, but I didn't think I could make a living being a historian, so I went into medicine instead. But as soon as I retired 9 years ago, I had the opportunity with the Hancock County Historical Society to actually publish articles and immerse myself into history, and it's been a wonderful experience.
Well, sir, I love that backstory, and the floor is pretty much yours. Why don't you surmise some of the history about Diamondhead, not all of it, obviously, but what you can touch on.
Diamondhead, I believe, is the most wonderful community on the Gulf Coast. And the reason it is such a great real estate accomplishment was that a man named Malcolm Purcell McLean, 54 years ago, had a dream that he was going to build a city or a town, at that time to be a retirement resort village. And so he took his money and created this wonderful place. Now, he was a genius, and he actually invented the container that goes in container ships. And he developed a company that had 400 of these freight container ships in the 1960s. He sold the company in 1969 and started to invest in real estate. And he named his company the Diamondhead Corporation. And the reason he did is because Diamondhead is the highest mountain in Hawaii, and he wanted to tell everybody that this nice piece of land he bought here in Hancock County was high and dry. And it worked. He invested $25 million in that time frame, which was a lot of money. But he designed a beautiful street plat system. He invented amenities like a country club, golf courses, tennis courts, yacht club, airplane runway, and these things he paid for and accomplished. Now, there have been several, or let's say many, real estate developments in our country and even in our county here that have failed because they did not invest enough money and accomplish, particularly the amenities that were promised to the original buyers. But he did. Now, his company went out of business around 2016 and was absorbed by a Houston firm. And in the end, Artist James, who was the key man and his indispensable man for the entire 50-year period, said that in the end, they came out even. So fortunately, this man had the vision and the plan that he was going to complete the amenities. So he did. The streets got built. Fortunately, the interstate came through just in that period of time. People started to live here, and now we have a city that grew from, say, 1,000 people in 1980 to 10,000 now.
A little over 10,000 people now. You know, for the developers, Mr. McLean, and the people that came at the beginning, you know, their vision certainly came to fruition. But I'll tell you what, the winners are the people here in South Mississippi, and specifically the folks here in Diamondhead community. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. And I think we need more of these kind of developments rather than ones that go out of business. There was one that Pat Boone had tried 10 years before Malcolm McLean called Discovery Bay that got flooded in Camille. And so Malcolm McLean decided on the day of Camille, or perhaps the day after, got in an airplane and flew over the area. And specifically, he flew over this piece of land, which he bought for about $3 million from the Jex family. But what he wanted to see is it underwater or is it high and dry? It was high and dry, and he said, we're going to go with this.
Well, I'm sure everybody here in Diamondhead in South Mississippi is certainly glad that all of that came to fruition. Beautiful community, nice backstory to it, and it looks like there's going to be continued growth throughout the area. Really wonderful. In case you folks haven't been here, and I'm sure a lot of you have, you drive around here, there's King Kamehameha Drive, Kona Drive, everything resembles the big island back in Hawaii. So not just the name Diamondhead, but everything that follows suit as well. Dr. Keating, thank you so much for joining me this morning, sir. It was a pleasure meeting you and getting to know that information and passing it on to our viewers as well.
Thank you for having me.
Folks, here we are, Dr. James Keating, reporting live from the club at Diamondhead. I'm Rob Knight for WXXV News 25.